And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Signposts Live. Hope you're all doing well today. Yesterday we finished Wisdom Transmissions Live, had a great broadcast there, and also looking to have a great broadcast today as we're going to be looking into the topic of has the Cabal surrendered? So by the Cabal, I'm referring to a lot of the cartels, a lot of the old regime, so to speak. We're going to be looking into that through the tarot cards, through a Zodiac spread. I'm also going to do some intuitive impressions of as well, too, to see exactly what additional information may come about. And then we're going to be going into questions from the live audience. So again, if you guys do have any questions on any topics, usually, again, current events related mostly, you can feel free to place that into the chat. And happy to talk to you. So, first and foremost, before we begin today, we're going to start off with some announcements.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light, to crystals, to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AetherX.co.
Get readings with Breanne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Breanne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Breanne's website and book your session today at readingswithbreanne.com.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
And just yesterday, I was talking about the new product that I have here, which is now available on AetherX.co. This is something that I've completely custom made myself. And this is referred to as the 3D Light Source Mandala. So you can find more information on it through AetherX.co. It is under the new arrivals. But basically what this does healing work both for yourself and for your environment. And it's working together with LED lights here, light diodes, and those will work together with color healing vibration. So we have the entire rainbow spectrum here through the LED. And once you turn it on, the codes start to amplify and radiate the frequencies throughout your entire space. Now, I actually made a mistake yesterday when I was introducing this on the webcast, where I was saying that the range is actually about 300 feet. That would actually be incorrect. It's about half a mile, okay? So it is actually the strength of the premium version of RAYD8. and not the free version. So because the Fibonacci oscillation that is contained in this is the same pattern as what's contained inside the RAYD8 premium version. Okay, so I'm basically doing these on print on demand. I have quite a few of them that are already ready to go. I'm preparing some for orders because I've already got quite a few of them sold. But here is the other one as well too. This one is the Flower of Life. So I just put the LED strip around here, and it comes with a physical remote control. Okay, so some of you are wondering, well, do I have to download an app? You can download an app if you want, but it also comes with a physical remote control as well too. And just plugs in. There's an LED plug-in. What I would suggest as well too is getting a LED extension cord, or sorry, a USB extension cord for the LED light diode, and that way you can stretch it out and put it in different places of your home. So these are available right now. Like I said, they are 3D printed. How they look too is just very, very beautiful. Again, the camera doesn't really do it justice, but when you hold it in your hand, it kind of looks like a galaxy. It's beautiful. It's like a sparkling galaxy color. So these are available now. It's our newest product on AetherX.co. So you can go ahead and check that out. This Friday, tomorrow, we're going to be debuting a couple other products as well too. One of them will be the brand new visor sunglasses. The second one will be the charged spray. So the charged spray is kind of like an insect repellent, and it's also a healthy skin spray as well too. So I'll be talking more about that tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing an AetherX live stream, and it's going to be a weekly broadcast. That's going to be called the AetherX Healing Webcast. That's going to be taking place every Friday. It'll be happening tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific on the AetherX YouTube channel. So to go there, again, I don't have my text on there. I should probably put that up this morning before coming on the air. But it's youtube.com/@AetherX store. Okay, that's AetherX store. Okay, what I'll do is I'll put that in the video description after today's broadcast, and you can check that out. Please feel free to subscribe. All of the healing work that I do is going to be on that webcast, because I'm going to have the healing code cards with me. I'm going to have a few other AetherX products with me. People will come to me through the chat and just request whatever help they need, and we're going to demonstrate exactly how you can get help and assistance through the products that I'm using through AetherX, with the healing code cards and many other different products as well too. So I'm looking forward to that. That's our very first broadcast on the AetherX live stream of that type. So going to be exciting. Love it. Okay, so I'll leave that in the background as it feels nice. And we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. So I just have one camera as well. I was kind of in a rush to get things going this morning, so I didn't have a chance to set up a second camera. But I'll have to remember to start doing that. Maybe put like another camera here, and then just being able to have a card camera. That would be nice. Okay, so in the meantime, we'll just have to work together with the single camera. And again, hope you're all doing well today. So let's go ahead and start off with the big $64,000 question, maybe 64 million. Has the Cabal surrendered? Now, again, I've talked about that quite a bit in the past, actually going back a couple of years, that there is a surrendering process taking place with many within the Cabal. So we're going to take a look at that and just see what the tarot says right now. It says, well, if there is surrender, Brad, why is there a lot of stuff like this happening in front of the scenes? It's a good question, so we're going to look into that. This is why I call it the three-ring circus at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to give the cards a good shuffle, and I will bring the camera down here so you guys can see it a little bit better, see the cards a little bit better. Okay, that should be all right. Okay, so Zodiac spread. So if you guys are not familiar with the Zodiac spread, this is actually something that Janine, Tarot by Janine, has taught. I was actually taking one of her tarot courses where she taught this, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I said, okay, this is something I think I'll adopt into myself, because I've been doing tarot readings for several years myself, but I never did the Zodiac reading. And Janine was showing it to me, and I said, you know what, that'd be a great thing to incorporate, looking into these type of readings. So here we are. All right, so let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the question: has the Cabal surrendered? Okay, let's see what we get out of this. Actually, let me do one more quick shuffle. Pose that question a little bit more intently. Okay, has the Cabal surrendered? What is the outlook of the Cabal surrendering here for 2024? Okay, now we're good. Okay, so I'm going to put these face down so that the camera can see the cards okay in the Zodiac spread. So here's the first house, which is Aries. Okay, here is the second house, which is Taurus. Third house, Gemini. Fourth house, Cancer. Fifth house, Leo. Sixth house, Virgo. Seventh house, Libra. Eighth house, Scorpio. Ninth house, Aquarius. No, Sagittarius. See, I always got the ninth and 11th house mixed up. I don't know why that is. I keep telling myself, no, it's Sagittarius, the ninth house. I always get that mixed up. Let me move these down a little bit more because I think I'm running out of space here. Okay, move that down a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so ninth house, which is, again, Sagittarius. 10th house, which is Capricorn. Okay, 11th house, which is now Aquarius. And 12th house, Pisces. And of course, we have the card here in the middle, which is how we are reacting, how we are responding, how we are interacting with everything that's taking place here. Okay. All right, so we have a lot of different mixtures of energy here pertaining to the Zodiac of, is it true that the Cabal has surrendered? So we're going to take a look at the first house here of Aries, and we're seeing how it is aspecting here with the 7th house of Libra, okay? So the first house here of Aries, of Mars, right? Mars, Aries, the soul, the ego in that sense. This is basically telling me that there is a veil over everything that's happening in front of the scenes right now. None of it is what it seems, because as this aspects the 7th house basically says that, yes, they've already been defeated. They're already done. They have already completely surrendered. So that's basically what I'm getting. But it's a very different story in front of the scenes because it's much more of a middle management operation. It's just a big, gigantic psyop with what is happening in front of the scenes pertaining to everything, pertaining to campaigns, pertaining to mainstream media, pertaining to events, agendas that are announced in front of the scenes. This is all a smokescreen. That's basically what this is telling me. So again, Aries is all about the soul. It's all about the complete self. It's about the ego as well too. It can also relate to war, of course. But this is basically telling me that there has been a war that's been behind the scenes, but a lot of it is leading into the complete and total defeat of the Cabal's stronghold altogether. Really, what's existing in front of the scenes is the Cabal's middle management, right? It's a middle management scenario that is taking place, and that's the smoke screen that is coming up here. And that's what's basically telling us that things are getting bad, things are getting worse. It's not that things are getting bad or they're getting worse. They are intense, but it's because everything is changing. Everything is changing. The grip is being slid off the pole, so to speak. They can't hold on anymore, and they're desperately trying. The middle management really is not getting the cue of what's happening a lot behind the scenes. They think that they can still operate things in front of the scenes and be successful with it. So this, again, is telling me that what's in front of the scenes, because this is kind of showing you a bit more of the bigger picture here. What's happening in front of the scenes is a smokescreen. It's a deception. It's an illusion. It is a three-ring circus. See, guys, I'm not the only one saying this. The tarot is saying this as well, too. With the moon here, this is all about illusion. This is all about deception. This is all about things not as they appear. There's a lot more going on than what is revealed in front of the scenes. So basically, this is a confirmation that behind the scenes, yes, the Cabal has completely surrendered. They are done. They're finished. Okay. But what's happening right now in front of the scenes is a smokescreen. It's a middle management aspect. It's these people who truly believe that they're succeeding, who truly believe that this is what's going to turn the tide with the work that they're doing, and they don't realize that their grip is slipping. Right? They're just very naive. Right? A lot of these middle management cronies that we see in front of the scenes. And that's basically what you see for everybody that, you look on the screen and say, yeah, they're part of the criminal cartels. And you're right about that. They are. But they're middle management. They really don't have any say. They're characters in a movie, right? They're stand-ins. They're actors. They're basically just spewing out information written on scripts, okay? And it's deliberate because a lot of the scripts, the funny thing about this is a lot of the scripts that are being written by the Counterforces. It's not actually being written by the Dark Forces anymore. So everything that's actually happening in front of the scenes is Counterforce driven. That's really what I'm getting here out of these two aspecting each other, okay? Who's behind the scenes? Well, that's the Counterforce card, right? This is the whole idea in that sense of the Counterforces are actually really running a lot of things behind the scenes. They are the ones that are actually producing a lot of the scripts for a lot of these leaders to go up on stage and talk about, and basically embarrassing them. They are being embarrassed. They are being humiliated. They are being told to regurgitate these ridiculous things because it's all part of a coming of age ceremony. And that is also what represents the Fool. The Fool basically represents the journey, the hero's journey here. And that's really what we're seeing behind the scenes here, is that there is a initiation going on. There is a ceremony that's going on. There's a coming of age story that's unfolding here. And we're going to see ridiculous, outrageous, unbelievable rhetoric from these so-called leaders, right? And they're basically just told you follow the script. If basically someone asks you a question, this is how you respond. They are meant to look like idiots. They are meant to look like complete and total buffoons. It's an interesting concept, but basically they're doing all of this so that people can now look at them with wide eyes and say, I see what they're doing, right? I see exactly what they're all about. And we don't trust the government as it's associated with us right now. We don't trust it. We're ready to watch it demolished so that when it actually does cave in and become overhauled, people are actually going to celebrate that. They're actually going to celebrate the dissolvement of government as it currently stands. They're not going to be, oh my God, this is horrible. I can't believe this is happening. This is absolutely terrible. What are we going to do? It's not going to be like that. People are going to have such total disdain and distrust of the government that they can't wait for it to fall. And that's the psychology behind this. That's exactly why the Counterforces are creating scripts in the way that they are. So they're basically writing scripts for pretty much all the MSM right now. They're writing scripts for the world leaders to get up on stage and make asses of themselves, to show their ass, as I've talked about before. That's what these two cards are showing me, or telling me, right? It's a veil, and the veil is now coming undone because behind the scenes, there has been a major cleaning of house, and a very thorough job as well, too. Okay, let's move on to the second house. Second house here is Taurus, okay? So Taurus will often relate to money supply. Okay, so that's in the second house. So basically this is telling me, as far as the Cabal is concerned, a lot of their resources are being cut off, okay? They are getting a lot of cutting off of the resources. They're being blocked at every single turn. And this is why they are getting frantic, right? And they will try to stage these particular type of events, but a lot of the times it gets foiled, okay? So as far as the Cabal goes, they realize that a lot of their funds, a lot of their resources, a lot of the old toys that they've had, they have very few. It's not to say that they're completely stripped, but they're basically getting a lot of their financial resources stripped away, right? And so they are basically plummeting here, and they're not going to last that much longer. So the second house is aspecting the 8th house, which is Scorpio, okay? Scorpio deals with scandals, deals with secrecy, deals with death, deals with sexuality, right? Deals with just kind of like an uproar. And this is basically what's happened. It's kind of like the cockroaches are scattering, and they're trying to make these bogus plans. They're trying to outline these bogus agendas to try and reinstitute their power, their empire, but they don't know what to do. There is a great lack of leadership within the Cabal right now, and they're scattered like rats. right? They're fleeing like cockroaches. So this is exactly what's happening. A lot of their resources, their water well is running dry, and so they're scattering. They don't know what to do. They're indecisive. Their scandals are now being exposed. Their secrecies are now being exposed. Everything that was once clandestine regarding them is now being completely and totally exposed. So they're just frantically running around. They don't know what to do, right? And this is why they'll make stupid decisions. This is exactly why they'll basically put themselves in checkmate, right? They'll do very, very stupid things. And like I said, basically, those that are Cabal associated are pretty much under the guise right now of the Counterforces, because the Counterforces have struck a deal. So you can either come with us and we can put you on trial right now, or you can work with us and we don't have to worry about getting a doppelganger with you, and you can expose yourself in that way. All right, and this may be more of a lighter treatment for you. So again, guys, if you really saw what was happening behind the scenes, you would not be in the panic that you are in. If you really saw what was taking place, because again, I've seen this so many times over the years, just tuning in, saying, "Wow, this is very, very interesting." They are truly at the brink of defeat right now. They are plummeting away, and they are. If you saw that yourself, you would have nothing to worry about. You would have absolutely nothing to fear. And like I said, these things are happening in front of the scenes to basically get people to react, right? When we're raising taxes, when there's a threat of you losing your house, it's not to say that that's really going to follow through. It's a tactic to basically get people to stand up. Their goal right now, the Counterforces' goal right now, is to get people to wake up by any means necessary. And sometimes that's going to come through harshness. Sometimes it's going to come through ridiculous things. It's like I said, guys, the Counterforces are not white hats. This is what I'm talking about. They're doing this because, like I said, a lot of them are ex-Cabal members. And they're basically being instructed to do this because this is the only way to wake humanity up. There is no other way. This is why I say that there are off-worlders working together with the on-worlders, right? The off-worlders do have technology very similar to Looking Glass technology, right? And they have this information, and they're passing it down to their associates here on the Earth and saying it. And I'm pretty sure there's been questions like, are you sure this is the only way that we can wake the people up? Yes, this is the only way that you can wake people up. You have to give the impression that tragedy is befallen around them all over the place, so that they will wake up, they will stand up, and they will take action. It's the only way. You can't do a kind and gentle approach for them because they're just going to debate it with you. They're just going to fight you. They're going to basically go into their separation consciousness and doubt and deny. The only way you're going to reach together with the masses is through this extreme. And this extreme needs to take place because it's going to break them out of their trance. And it's going to help them to realize that a lot of the energies that they have been putting towards life have been going towards these usurpers, these Cabal members, right? And you basically have to expose it in this way, in a language that they can understand, where they're no longer going to be supporting such a system, so that the system can fall apart, so new systems can come together. But in order for that to happen, the people basically need to see tragedy. They need to say that their entire livelihood is being threatened right now. It has to be this way. Can't be done any other way, right? So there certainly have been conversations like that. And of course, it's not a comfortable thing to look into. But that, again, is what we're facing right now. And I say this because that's what we're going through in front of the scenes. This is basically a lot of their rationality of why they had to do it this way. People are just too much entranced. They think that everything that the Cabal has provided pertaining to systems is a good thing. And it's not. That's exactly what's keeping us from having a better financial system. That's what's keeping us from having free energy. That's what's keeping us from having true healthcare. That's what's helping us to have much more true education, right? All of these things we have basically been looking at with morsels. It's not even, I would say, bittersweet. It's just complete and total bitter. We've been eating nothing but bitter foods, and we're trying to break the system down because it needs to be broken down. It cannot just be politely nudged into a corner and say, okay, just go over there and you're fine. No, of course not. They're going to come back and they're going to be 3 times more powerful again. It can't work that way. This is the only way that it can go. And I know a lot of people won't agree with that, and I understand that. But I'm just giving you the indication of how they think, of what they're getting, and why they're doing what they're doing. And it may not bring you comfort about what they're doing, but this is why I say that the counterforces are not white hats, right? We get so many people around us, and they, oh, the white hats are doing this. The white hat guys, you got to stop calling them white hats. They're not white hats. They're counterforces. Okay, counterforces again will play with the entire spectrum. They will play with the entire band. They will not play with just a white hat approach. Oh, we're just going to go ahead and strum a guitar and sing and play around in fairy circles. It's not going to happen that way. This is counterforce. And counterforce will play with the entire spectrum to bring something back into balance. That's how it works. Okay. So that again is the second in the 8th house. Let's go to the 3rd house. 3rd house represents communication. Okay, so there's strength. So there's agreement going on, right? They're basically making agreements with the devil, right? They're making agreements with the cabal. And there are some in that sense who are so loyal to their agenda that they're actually being taken out. Okay, so there's some in that sense that follow under this category of the devil, right? That's the 9th house. Okay, 9th house can often represent good fortune. It can also represent travel. It can represent the father. It can represent secrecy, spirituality as well too, occult knowledge, right? So this is the whole idea, is that there are negotiations taking place with the devil, right? And actually there are some that are falling in line with it. You basically wave some money in front of their face, they'll take any particular side that you want. So that's what's happening right now. There's a strength. It's basically facing down the devil. It's kind of like you have your foot on the head of the devil and saying that we're in charge right now. And if you want to continue to follow these agendas, you're going to do what we say, right? So this is really what's happening, is that this strength card, communication, is fighting against the devil, right? The deep occult world, right? Because that's all these guys are, basically just deep occultists, very, very diluted and distorted occultists. But this is the whole idea, is that the lion has basically pinned down the devil's head. And the devil is actually working to initiate this new transformation that's taking place. This is the devil at surrender. So that's an interesting interpretation. But that's really what I'm seeing, because like I said, when you're looking at Sagittarius also has strength to it. It also has fire to it. But again, it's all about good fortune, right? And when there's a devil in good fortune, this is telling me that they're basically making a deal with the devil. And basically it feels like the devil is at the lower platform and the lion is at the higher platform, right? Saying if you guys don't want to be trialed, if you guys don't want to be executed, and if you want to have amnesty, you need to follow our orders. You need to follow exactly what we're going to do, right? So that's kind of the impression I'm getting here, is that the lion has the devil's head pinned with its vicious paw and saying that if you want to live, you're going to do as I say, right? So the communication is that there is certain truces with certain, I guess you could say, certain types of the cabal, because the cabal has many different branches to it. There are certain branches of the cabal that are actually working willingly with the counterforces. So that's interesting. So again, it feels like the branches of the tree are turning into counterforce branches, while there's still a few other branches that are still devil related, right? And if they're not basically following the counterforces, they're being hunted down. So there's been some very, very nasty experiments that they've been trying to do, the cabal side, right? We've had some discussions about that pertaining to deep underground military bases, to laboratories, trying to clone humans, trying to create chimeras, right? Basically, again, that blending between human and animal, just like they did in Atlantis, right? With minotaurs and mermaids and so forth. And they basically have had all of those particular installations and their projects destroyed. Now, I think those underground bases will probably be overhauled into something else, but nonetheless, a lot of their twisted, repulsive experiments have been shut down. So let's go into the 4th house now and the 10th house. Okay, so the 4th house representing the nature quite commonly of property or homestead, can also represent the mother as well too, can represent family. So the 4th house is telling me that there is a rise, there's a standing up. This is helping, this is getting people to stand up for themselves. And this is really all part of the surrender agreement, that we're going to continue to bring this intensity. It's kind of watered down in front of the scenes, but we're going to bring it up so that the people can stand up against you, right? But the middle management hasn't got the memo of this. And that's the funny thing. It's that these particular leaders, so to speak, in front of the scenes aren't actually knowing that they're being played. It's a weird thing. I always do my best to try to rationalize what's happening in front of the scenes, but I just don't think I do a good job. Because it still doesn't make sense. Like, how are these guys not knowing that they're being played? They are so incredibly programmed and conditioned, guys. They don't even realize it, right? They don't even know that they're being played. It's a weird thing, right? They even have their higher ups still saying, yeah, follow the scripts, exactly what you're doing, right? And I certainly couldn't be a part of that type of world, but this is the whole idea, is that they're really just being played. People are now starting to stand up. There is very much a worldwide awakening taking place right now. It is very, very powerful. The 10th house is basically showing that people are going to take their power back, right? The people are getting their power back. There's a time of celebration that is coming, right? Everything relating to this old system, because of the people's support, has cracks in it. Not only cracks, but now it's starting to buckle. Now it's starting to burst. Now it's starting to break down and crumble down, okay? And I'm just reading exactly what the cards are telling me here to tell you guys, okay? So the 10th house, again, often relates to politics, to government. But again, these two are aspecting one another. Is that the current so-called government authority or government powers that be aren't going to be around for much longer, right? Everything that has represented corruption, again, is heating up. It's majorly inflamed. It's extremely intense, and it needs to be this way. Needs to be this way because this is the only way that people are going to get out of their rut. The only way that people are basically going to break their programming and realize the government as it currently stands is not the answer. They're horrible. They're tyrants. They're dictators. All they're doing is taxing us to death. All they're doing is bringing in immigration. All they're doing is trafficking, right? All of this stuff is being exposed. That's a wonderful thing that all those things are being exposed, rather than having them kept in the shadows where we don't know what's going on, right? So again, light is being shed upon the world. And that light is going to reveal very, very, very terrible things. It is going to show you how terrible these people are. It's going to show you how terrible their operations, their agendas, their psyops are, so that you guys can stand up and say, oh my God, we got the knowledge now. Now we're going to take action. Now we're going to stand up. Now we're going to do our part. That's exactly what this is showing. This is showing people-powered energy, people-powered organizations, people-powered driven, whether it's protests or rallies or movements. All of this is happening. This is really about the people's cards here, these two. Okay. Moving on, we're going into the 5th house, which represents Leo. So Leo is aspecting together with the 11th house. And the 11th house is the King of Pentacles. So here, with the 2 of Cups, right, again, which represents lovers, there's alliances forming. Okay, so this is kind of going back into this card, this formation here, but this is, again, telling it on a different level, is that there are a lot of ex-Cabal members joining the Counterforces, okay? There is such a incredible power, balance of power switch taking place, where a lot of these ex-members are actually starting to go along with the Counterforces. And I'm not too sure if many of them have seen the light or if they've been threatened or what have you. But nonetheless, there is an association. It's kind of like I'm seeing the Cabal and the Counterforces. Many of the ex-members are now starting to come together. So this is telling me that there is a cooperation, a much larger cooperation. The Counterforces right now are so incredibly large. It's very, very powerful. And it has completely overwhelmed the Cabal. And then we have the King of Pentacles, right? This often can represent a Donald Trump card, right? on my tarot. But this is the 11th house. So this again represents gains, okay? So this represents to me new leadership, new systems coming together in place, cooperation that is going to take place here. So it could be the idea, like I said, of a Donald Trump coming into presidency, of a Pierre Poilievre coming into prime ministership, so to speak, in Canada, and many other of these leaders that are playing ball with counterforces. That's really what matters. Pierre Poilievre plays ball with the counterforces. Trump plays ball with the counterforces, right? So they will basically be in this, and it's not just them. A lot of the leaders that are going to be coming up ahead need to play ball with the counterforces, or they're not going to be able to play ball. Simple as that. So this is telling me that there is a new establishment coming together. Like I said, this can also represent the idea of a new financial system coming together, new systems being built, right? A new kingship, so to speak, a new kingdom coming together in the material plane. So there feels like there's a lot of shifting going on. It's this stuff that's happening behind the scenes, though, still needs to play itself out for a bit longer, okay? As much as we don't want to hear that, we say, well, let's see these new systems right now. So, well, that's going to come. That's going to come in time. But there still needs to be a playing out of a lot of this corruption. There needs to be a playing out of a lot of this exposure. And we would love to see that tomorrow. Okay, let's pull the veil off and let's actually show you guys what's happening behind the scenes. Afraid, guys, that they're never actually going to do that, right? You have to kind of see the behind the scenes for yourself. You have to look into it. You have to kind of, and the only way I've looked into it is really going into my intuition, is going inside and seeing it. And they're not going to show that on television, especially just not at this particular point. Down the road, who knows? But certainly not right now, because it's very important to keep the act together, because this is an act. This is a three-ring circus, right? Behind the scenes, a lot more stuff is happening. And again, I'll say it again. If you guys truly knew what was happening behind the scenes, you would not be upset, right? Because you would actually see that the cabal is being completely and totally wiped out. So let's go to the next card here. This is the 6th house. This is Virgo, and it is aspecting with Pisces. Okay. So Virgo, again, kind of like that child youth holding the sword for the first time, right? This, then Virgo represents services, can represent labors, can also represent friends or enemies as well too. Could also represent the idea of digging for the truth as well. And it feels like there is a new beginning for humanity. This kind of feels like the people collectively, right? They're now holding the sword, and there's going to be a lot more exposures that are going to be coming out that we had no idea of. And I think situations that we thought were going to get worse and intensifying aren't going to be as worse and as intensifying as we may believe, because that would cut back the momentum and the inertia that's being brought forward right now. It's not going to lead to some worldwide catastrophe. It's not going to lead to some world war. It's not going to lead to major earth disasters or anything of that nature. Okay? I've certainly have seen certain things, but like I said, it's all basically contained in certain areas of the world. So there are certain things that can be disastrous that can take place, but it has a type of containment quality to it. And it's only being shown as something that's helping people to expand, open up, and kind of widen their eyes a little bit more. So this is telling me that there's going to be a new expansion, a new state, right? This is telling me again through Virgo of the services that we do, of the expressions that we make, of the truth finding that we discover. There's going to be new things that are going to be coming about that will really, in a positive way, transform humanity into this kind of innovative people, innovative, intuitive, very, very integral. They actually start to work together with each other. They're not at each other's throats anymore. This is a time that's coming, right? And then we go into the 12th house, which represents Pisces. And Pisces is kind of like holding the balance here. But again, this is representing the material plane. This is representing wealth. There is a balancing act taking place. So one side is losing and the other side is gaining. One side is losing, the other side is gaining. One side is collapsing, and the other side is picking up that collapse. One side is completely imploding. The other side is going to pick up that implosion and explode into something greater. So this is letting you know things are going to fall, things are going to plummet, things are going to crumble to the ground. But at the same time, Something new is going to take its place, that is fresh, that is new. You are looking at a balancing act, yes, because we're going to see things fall. We're going to see people in that sense who are still very much in the state of their own misery and just simply cannot be helped. We're going to see people who are starting to come around and do want to be helped, and there will be people there to help them. We will see people who are now shining lights, who realize exactly what's going on, and they're dedicated to helping other people, which truly is what Virgo represents. It's service to others, it's assistance, it's wanting to dig for knowledge, it's wanting to know the facts, right? It's wanting to go deeper into it, it's wanting to understand patterns, okay? So having these two combining is that there's going to be some great exposures ahead, but it's going to lead to the downfall of common systems that we have worked with commonly, and starting to bring in new systems that are going to take its place. And so I'd say 2024, 2025 really are the fruit times of this particular type of change. You're going to see things free falling. You are going to see things cascading. You're going to see things crumbling down. But at the same time, you're going to see things being rebuilt over that old pile of ashes. It's like the phoenix rising again. So that's what I'm getting here pertaining to that combination. Finally, we look at the 13th card about how the collective is reacting to the Cabal surrender. Okay, so we have a very emotional card here, the Queen of Cups. It's the idea in that sense that we're kind of keeping our eyes on the situation at hand. We're keeping, a lot of us are basically staying tuned to the TV or staying tuned to the internet. We're kind of transfixed and saying, what's happening next, right? And we're kind of getting a mixture of different emotions about what's taking place, but we're ignoring everything else that's around us that is actually quite tranquil, right? So we're transfixed on an object about what about the Cabal? What about these leaders? What about these politicians? What about this government, et cetera, et cetera? That's our point of focus, and we're missing everything else, right? You're missing everything else that is actually around you that is actually quite tranquil, that can actually help to support you. But you're too focused on the goblet here. You're too focused on the cauldron. And that's the idea. Your eyes are too peered onto the media. What will happen next? What will happen next? There needs to be a state of presence within us, looking around and seeing all of these great opportunities that can assist you to help you grow, to help you nurture, to help balance you again. That's really what's being shared here with the Queen of Cups. Okay. All right, guys. So that concludes the tarot. Before I actually close it up, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of intuitive insight looking into the Cabal myself. So the tarot has given me a good perspective about that. So I'm just going to take a moment and I'm just going to kind of look into, see exactly what is happening here pertaining to that question, is the Cabal in surrender? It's kind of like I'm seeing a bunch of people in a big room, and they're all talking about certain agendas that are going to come into place, but they're not real at the same time. It's kind of like I'm looking at all these people, these kind of higher ups, and I'm seeing them in a room. Maybe they have like this kind of a map around them, or again, a table that gives all this kind of information, and they're pointing at it. So, okay, they're going to try and do this, but we have to realize that this is just a stepping stone to something like this. It's like a big, gigantic planning. It's really no more different than like a bunch of Hollywood producers in a room trying to plan out a movie about the steps that are coming about. It's like they're strategizing about all of these particular agendas that are currently happening in front of the scenes and being able to get an idea of what it's going to do to the people, right? To wake them up. It's kind of like a think tank, right? And that's kind of the feeling I get. It's like the higher ups are kind of going up into this think tank and basically seeing a lot of these agendas that are taking place and are able to see exactly through the agendas about what it's actually going to do to the people to help them wake them up. That's interesting. That's the kind of vision I'm getting, just as I'm looking into the whole situation of the Cabal. And there's different members. It's kind of like you have Counterforces and you have Cabal members who are ex-Cabal members that are now coming in. They're offering their insight as well. Guys, it's something out of the Wizard of Oz. If you were seeing this, it's like, what? What is he doing there? What is she doing there? And also, well, they're helping a plan. It's like, yeah, but they were like this. Is no, that's a cover. That's a character they're playing. Oh, what? Again, guys, this doesn't make sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's no more different than if you're looking at professional wrestlers, right? They're coming out, they're being their character, they go behind the scenes, they're hugging each other. Hey, that was a great match, great idea, right? And they're completely different people. That's exactly what I'm saying with these higher ups, right? May even recognize some of them, right? Maybe them are some of their presidents or prime ministers in that sense, world leaders, Nobel Prize winners in that sense, other particular influential people in our society. But they're all gathered around this table and they're all just kind of nodding. Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. And it has to be done here. And this is what's going to help people to wake up and all that stuff like that. It is almost kind of like a light meeting, right? It's like a luminous meeting that's taking place. But if you were there, just like, this makes no sense. Come on, bro. This person was doing this and that person was doing that. It's like, you're falling for my character. You're not falling for who I truly am, right? That's kind of what is being shared here. This is all like them just taking off masks. And now they're actually doing all this stuff and they're actually working together to help humanity evolve. Stranger than fiction. What can I tell you guys? This is strange to me as well, too, when I'm just observing these things and like, okay, these people who are just are being pegged as bad guys and stuff like that, they're taking their masks off and they're actually working together with the counterforces and they're helping people to evolve. Again, guys, I can't explain it to you. I have no rational explanation for you other than using, the Hollywood example or the pro wrestler example, right? Just behind the scenes, they're completely different people, and they're actually working together to help people evolve. Yet all this stuff is happening in front of the scenes. It's, oh my God. I don't have an answer, guys. I really don't have an answer, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this. The whole idea is like, it's just no more different than a character breaking out of their acting role and now coming into who they really are and looking at all these agendas that are taking place and helping it along to help people awaken. This is really, really crazy, guys. So like I said, I really can't explain it rationally. And all I'm doing is just kind of taking my perception, looking into these things, and that's what I'm getting, right? If you guys don't want to believe me, you don't have to, right? This is just something that I'm getting. You guys have this power too. You have this ability too. You have the power to go in here and see exactly what's happening, right? Because again, a lot of these ex-Cabal members are Satanists, right? But they're also agreeing at the same time to work together to help humanity evolve. It's strange. It's completely contradictory. It's completely paradoxical. It's completely nonsensical, but at the same time, it's happening, right? So take it for what it's worth, guys. So from what I'm getting, yes, it's absolutely true that there is a great deal of surrender happening in the Cabal. And in front of the scenes is just a clown show. It's a three-ring circus, right? And from what I'm seeing quite commonly, day by day, it's only proving that more and more, right? I mean, you look at what these leaders are saying on the TV, and they're deliberately exposing themselves. Justin Trudeau, a while back, even said, we're raising the carbon taxes so that we can serve the purposes of the highest wealthy 1%. Now, guys, does that make any sense to you? He said this. He said this openly in public, right? We're raising the carbon tax so that we can serve the interests of the super wealthy 1%. Now, you tell me, guys, is that a three-ring circus moment? That's a three-ring circus moment, right? You have Joe Biden even going back into the times before he was officially elected, saying, I don't even need the people to vote for me. I'm going to become president whether you vote for me or not. And he said that openly and publicly. So you tell me, guys, is that a three-ring circus moment or not? That's a three-ring circus moment. They are revealing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes. Sometimes they'll do it with kind of double entendre, but nonetheless, they will do it. And they're sharing these things and they're exposing themselves. And I could mention a lot of different things. You just go ahead and you look at what these politicians are doing, exposing everything. They're exposing everything about themselves. This is not what a clandestine cabal does. They were all about secrecy. They would never, ever expose anything like that, yet you're seeing little chunks here and there being constantly exposed. Guys, that is what I call three-ring circus moments. Okay? They are telling you, they're reading off a script, right? They're even the opposing force, like if we're looking at Canadian politics with Pierre Poilievre, basically accusing the deputy minister, the prime minister, reading off a teleprompter, because they are. Reading off scripts, because they are. There's a three-ring circus moment. You look at Biden of what he's doing. He's in front of this celebration. He's like this. He's completely frozen. It starts to make me wonder, have they put an AI in his place? He's not even moving. Guys, can you not see it? Three-ring circus moment. Okay, they're deliberately pointing it at him, right? Looks like there's a mask right behind his head that he's scratching. Three-ring circus. Right? He can barely move. He's just standing there, completely frozen, like he's glitched out. Whether he's a clone, whether he's an AI, doesn't matter, guys. Three-ring circus moment. Do you not see it? Do you see what I'm talking about? This is this. That's what this is. I could give you guys lots of more examples, particularly with world leaders, of what they're doing. They're botches, or so-called botches. The whole idea, guys, is that they're not going in and they're not slipping their tongue. They are being told to say these things. They are being told to do these things. They are being told to present these things. This is the three-ring circus garbage that I'm talking about. And you're seeing it right in front of your face. Right? Because this is what's happening behind the scenes. It's being cleaned up. Everything's being cleaned up. Right? So when you look in here, and you see it, you are going to see things that you think are right out of the Wizard of Oz. This is just, oh, I can't believe this. This is just, again, like looking at actors taking off their masks, going up and working together, and trying to work together with agendas to awaken humanity even more, right? Because that's really their goal. The Counterforces' goal is to help wake humanity up. That's what they're here to do. Number one, they take down the old cabal. Number two, they make efforts to try to wake everybody up so that changes can be made, because the only thing that's keeping these systems at bay is our own ignorance, because we keep using these systems. As long as we keep using these systems and we feel like they're our lifeline, they're going to stick around. And so basically the strategy is to have complete and total distrust of these systems so that they can go, so that something new can take its place. That, again, is a three-ring circus principle. We're putting so much reliance and trust on these systems that we don't even like. But as you start seeing how you're distrusting those people and those systems, you're not going to want them to stick around, and they're going to plummet. Right? So I hope that makes sense, guys. Like I said, I'm only giving perspective and point of view. If you think what I'm sharing here is the gospel, then you're completely mistaken. I'm only giving you a perspective. You have to look at these things yourself, because you're the only one who has truth, right? The whole idea is that even I come on here and I share a perspective. If it feels like it rings a bell with you, great. That's fantastic. Work with that. See where it takes you. If it doesn't ring a bell with you, chuck it away, right? I'm not here to look after you guys. I'm not your babysitter, right? But I'm giving you guys a perspective here that I've been seeing for years. And I've been able to call a lot of these things, and a lot of these things have taken place, right? Just in regards to the shenanigans that are going on behind the scenes, three-ring circus, telling people a lot of things that are not going to happen, and they do not happen, right? So, like I said, you guys have to make up your own minds. You have to look into these things yourself. You have to be a self-investigator. You have to go into that type of self-inquiry yourself and find these things and trust what you're receiving, because I certainly trust what I'm receiving. And a lot of the times it's panned out. I'm not saying I'm 100% right all the time. There's times where I've looked at things and they have not panned out. And hey, that's okay. Because all we're really doing here is sharing, right? Okay, let's go into questions now. So we do have a couple of donations. So thank you guys. So again, donation-based questions will be answered first. So again, if you want to leave a donation, you can with your question, and I will get to you in priority sequence. Okay, so this one is from Kamal. Question, reading for crypto market for July and August. Okay, so that's kind of a broad discussion, but we'll kind of see what the cards can bring about briefly, what we can talk about. Okay, so what is the momentum for the cryptocurrency market for July and August? Again, the crypto market is vast, it's huge. But let's take a look and see what we got here. Do a short reading with it. And again, guys, just as a disclaimer, I'm not a financial consultant, so please do not look at me for financial advice. We're just measuring the idea of the momentum here energetically. Okay. So, what is the crypto market for July and August? Feels like it's going to be going through some shakeup, right? I think it's trying to stabilize. I feel like it's had some rises and some dips. Okay, but it feels like there may be a stabilization period with it coming up. With the Hanged Man here, which represents the hope and fear, a little bit more wait before there's a stabilization, right? So the wise person waits. The wise person waits a little bit more, but there's a little bit more of a stability, okay? So this also represents a contemplation card behind the scenes. I would say gather your funds together. Be a little bit more discerning about where you're putting your funds. Do not fully rely on the idea of cryptocurrency because it's not our bread and butter just now, right? Be a little bit more discerning about how you are spending. And I think this may just be a reading for Kamal as well too, right? Or again, people who are very much into the crypto markets. It still is a very young child, and it's still something that is maturing. It is still something that is developing, but you're going to see a peak hit. I can't guarantee that that peak is going to come in August. I feel like it may be a little bit further than that. I think it may be coming closer to the fall or winter time. Okay, but there may be a big spike that may come about. It's kind of like you're seeing that line start to rise, and as soon as you start to see it rise, that's when you can put the money that you're not afraid to lose into it, and then you can see it rise. But it looks like that spike is going to be happening probably close between fall and winter time this year. Okay, so when you start to see that little line start to move up, that's when you can apply it. Okay, but again, apply money that you're not afraid to lose. That's the most important thing, what I've always told people. Okay, thank you, Kamal, for your question. All right, let's go down. Okay, so Peaceful Heart, I saw your donation, so thank you for that. And this is your question that followed. Will Nesara and Gesara be activated this year? So Peaceful Heart, I assume you're pretty new to my channel. So welcome. Now, again, for those of you who have been tuning into my channel for a while, you know how I feel about Nesara and Gesara, okay? Nesara and Gesara is not even a real thing, okay? And this is just what I've gotten. I've gotten this out of many readings, and I know people get mad at me when I say this, but I'm just telling the truth, right? I have not seen anything pertaining to a Nesara and Gesara coming about. And there have been people who I have been talking to who have been waiting for a Nesara and Gesara since the 1990s, and they're still waiting, right? So here we are 34 years later, and they're still waiting. Okay, that's a really patient person. It's wonderful. I don't see it. Okay, I don't see Gesara and Nesara. However, I do see prosperity programs taking place. Okay, I see debt relief. I see programs for the idea of affordable housing come together. I do see financial assistance coming together that would be spiked up a lot more programs, a lot more outlines of systems in society that can help a lot of people. Okay, that's really where I see it happening, right? So there will be certain forms of allowances that will come together. There will be certain forms of money or financial aid that will come together, but it's not like saying that every single family on this planet is going to be a millionaire. Okay? That's why so many people are excited about Gesara and Nesara, because they are promising you incredible amounts of wealth, and they're lying. They are lying to you. Okay, so hold that thought. Okay, and I want you to just ask the question from the tarot. With the Nesara and Gesara operation, are they genuine and legit to wanting to help people become wealthy? Okay. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the tarot. So I've already done this many times, but we'll take a look at it again. The whole Gesara and Nesara situation. All right. So, like I said, it's not what you think it is. It is going to be shifting into something else. It is a prosperity program. So what is the integrity behind Nesara and Gesara? There you go. That's it. That's the integrity behind Nesara and Gesara. They're filling you with crap, right? They are deceiving you. It's basically filling you up with so much hopium that lightning comes, and when you realize it's just so long nothing's happening, you get incredibly disappointed. It's a disaster because you put so much hope and faith into that particular agenda. Like I said, there is going to be prosperity programs. There is going to be prosperity assistance, but it's not what you think it is, okay? It's going to manifest as something else. Something else is going to come about. It's going to take a little bit more time, though. Okay, it's not going to be something that's just going to spring into action right away. Like I said, there needs to be this distrust. There needs to be this implosion of the current systems that we're using, because that's what's preventing prosperity funding. That's what's preventing prosperity programs from coming together. And that's all I'm really referring to it as. I'm not referring to it as universal basic income. I'm basically referring to it as prosperity funding or prosperity programs. That prosperity funding is not going to turn you into a millionaire. Okay. And that's what a lot of Gesara and Nesara takes. I read quite a lot of those things over the years, and seeing what they do, and this is full of crap. This is a bunch of garbage. People are actually believing this stuff, right? They're telling you, oh, you'll never have to worry about money again, and your whole family is gonna be provided for. This is just a bunch of garbage, right? And like I said, unfortunately, people are falling for that, right? And you have to be careful, right? And I'm not trying to burst your bubble here or anything like that, because there are going to be prosperity programs, but it's going to take a little bit more time. This system, as we currently are going through right now, needs to break down. It needs to be busted, right? So that something new can come about. And that's what needs to be the focus right now. So I can't guarantee 100% that prosperity funding will come this year or anything of that nature. There are certain programs that are starting to surface that may represent debt relief or debt consolidation or forgiveness of loans or student loans or debts or anything of that nature. Some of that is starting to surface, but some of them can also be kind of shady. So you have to discern, right? It's going to be a time where it's going to be a lot more obvious that these particular types of prosperity programs are going to happen. But again, I know a lot of people are very much behind the Nesara because it sounds great. It sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want to be a millionaire, right? Having wealth for their family, so they never have to worry about bills again, okay? But that's exactly how they get you, okay? This is nothing more than a hopium attack. And a lot of these are just basically people that want to win people, curry favor, get a lot of subscribers, get a lot of people's attention. Oh, hey, you like Nesara Gesara? Well, come and buy this thing, right? It's just a way to get attention, okay? So I'm sorry, guys. It's really no more different than those petty old Galactic Federation of Light channels, right? Where you're just constantly getting fed hopium, right? Anything that's just feeding you with this fluffy hopium, you need to be very, very discerning of, okay? So again, that's that reading that I just put forward is very common from what I've gotten many times looking into Nesara Gesara, okay? Prosperity programs, yes. Nesara Gesara, no. And again, that's just my perspective, guys. You have something else, then go ahead. You look into it, but that's what I'm getting. Okay, let's go down to see if there's any more donation-based questions. Okay, we do have one here from Ian. Ian says, hi, Brad. In recent Breanne's Canada reading, she sees an even bigger people uprising than trucker convoy. What's momentum ahead? Such uprising to occur. Oh, you're watching my fiance's channel. Great. I encourage a lot of you guys to go check out my fiance's channel. Okay, it's if you're on YouTube, you just type in "readings with Breanne." Okay, you've seen the commercial at the beginning of the broadcast here. She's been doing a lot of great stuff because I'm encouraging her to go really into her tarot. She started looking into crystal gazing, into scrying, and she's really, really good, really good. Okay, and she offers readings as well too, and they're very affordable. Okay, so you can check out her website. Her website is readingswithbreanne.com. Let me go ahead if I can put that on the banner here. There we go. So this is her website right here, readingswithbrianne.com. Check her out. She has a really good YouTube channel. She just did a video yesterday about the spheres in Costa Rica, and I was watching it, and I said, honey, you're completely accurate. I'm really accurate? And she was like, no, excited because I was telling her she was accurate. Because she was looking into the idea of how they're using rods, how they're using Taurus stones. I said, that's it. That's pyramid creation technology right there. And that can be used for basically shaping stones, because these are hard granite. And she was really excited that I was giving her confirmation. So she's really, really good. Okay. Why you guys aren't checking her out right now is beyond me. She is very, very good. If you guys like Janine, if you guys like Tarot by Isabella, you'll love what Breanne's doing. She is extremely gifted. She has incredible abilities. She's very psychic. She's very intuitive, and she's very accurate. You guys should be booking a reading with her. Why aren't you doing that right now? Okay, there's readings with me, but there's also readings with Breanne. She's incredible. Okay, go check her out. Check out her YouTube channel. Again, just type in readings with Breanne on YouTube. Okay, and you can find her channel. But anyways, let's get back to the question here from what Ian was saying. Let's see if I can go back to his question here. Okay, yeah, so let's go back to this. So again, anyways, Breanne was saying that she sees an even bigger people uprising than trucker convoy. Yeah, so do I. I've said the same thing. Okay, it's going to lead into enormous rallies, enormous amounts of people coming together, and it's going to happen at a certain point. I think it quite possibly could happen this year. Yes, what I see in that sense is kind of like the trucker convoy would be like a picnic compared to what I'm seeing in the times ahead, with thousands, hundreds of thousands of people coming together. Because guys, with what's happening with Ottawa right now, it's part of their scripts. They're going to make things worse. And they're going to make things look so incredibly bad that people will say, that's it, we've had enough. We're done with this. And you're going to have them coming out in droves. You're going to have the entire streets covered with people. This is what I've seen. I've seen this in visions, right? I've seen this in visions going all the way back to 2020. Okay. This is exactly what's happening. You can't even walk down the street. There will be people that will be in droves to protest with this. I would even call it a protest. I would call it a revolution. Okay. It would be referred to as the Great Canadian Revolution. That's what this is. This is more than just a rally. This is more than just a protest. This is more than just a convoy. This will be known as the Great Canadian Revolution that will turn the tide. Okay. So as far as politics go, on the Canadian front, it is going to get worse. Okay. And I'm not saying that to scare you guys. It is something that's going to bring about a benefit, because it's waking the sleepers up. The sleepers are going to be up and say, that's it. I've had enough of this friggin' Trudeau, had enough of this friggin' government. We're going out right now. Let's organize. Let's do this. And that's exactly what happens. They're going to have very popular people as well, too, encouraging this. Like, why aren't you guys taking to the streets? Why aren't you guys going right into Ottawa, right? Make this into a revolution. That's exactly what's happening. The funny thing is that the middle management doesn't even realize that this is going to happen, right? This is what's so funny about it. The middle management thinks that all of this is real. That's the funny thing about this. It's so stupid, right? Lower and middle management cronies thinking that this is all real, right? And that's why they're trying to get police involved. They try to do all this stuff, and it foils, right? It's just all part of a seed being planted, and you are looking at a revolution. You're not looking at a convoy. You're not looking at a rally. You're not looking at a protest. You're looking at a revolution, right? And like I said, the West is usually the countries in the West are the ones lastly to do this. You look on the other side of the world, you're seeing revolutions happening all the time, right? You look in the East, there's a lot more people taking to the streets. There's a lot more people, standing up for what they believe in. The West is so slow. We're the tortoise, right? They're the hare, we're the tortoise, right? But everything comes around in divine timing. So Breanne is absolutely correct. Okay, I don't even need to do a reading on this because I've seen this for years, and it is definitely coming up. Okay, it's very, very soon. Could possibly be 2024, right? Because like I said, they're going to continue to crack some eggshells here, right? Throw them on the ground, people stepping on the eggshells and say, okay, that's it. I've had enough. We're done, right? Revolution time. The Great Canadian Revolution. Yes. just as there's going to be a great American revolution as well, too. There will be a modern day great American revolution. Because like I said, if they do everything they can to try and stop Trump from coming back into presidency, you're going to have a revolution. And I think that they're still got some tricks up their sleeve to try and do that, right? And it's just showing how many people are coming out and supporting this man, right? They want him back in office. Now, the behind the scenes thing really is that he already is in office, but he's going to be in front of the scenes in office. So that's happening already. So I could refer to it almost as the Great Western Revolution is already taken place. Canada, United States, Mexico, right? All of it is going to be transformed. Okay, and it's going to lead to revolution time. It's going to happen. Like I said, it's just a matter of the stars aligning for that momentum to happen. So Ian, Breanne is completely correct. And this is exactly what I've seen going back the past 4 years. So yes, it is definitely going to happen. Okay, thank you very much for your question. Let's go down and just see if there's any more donations. Okay, here's one here from the Showman Sauna. I love the name. Showman Sana says, hi, Brad. What will happen to small-time gangs and cartels in the next year, please? Thank you. Small-time gangs and cartels. Well, basically right now, a lot of them are running in different countries because we have this immigration agenda taking place. And a lot of them are criminal cartels. A lot of them are gangs. A lot of them are basically criminals, psychopaths, being taken out of asylums to wreak havoc, right? So that's already starting to run the course now. Again, I'll shut up though. I'll take a look at the tarot, see what the tarot has to say about that. I was about to share something intuitive, but now just let the tarot take care of it. Let the tarot deal with it. Okay. Okay, so what is happening right now with these gangs and cartels in the next year? Okay, so right now, this is all part of an agenda, right? There's an agenda that's taking place, but it's also, again, still under scrutiny a great deal. Okay, we have the Queen of Swords here, and she's all about, facts. She's all about getting to the truth. She's all about putting the hammer down if she needs to put the hammer down, right? She's also very intuitive. She's also very, very intellectual. You can't really fool this woman, right? And so that's kind of what's being done here. So even though a lot of this immigration and gangs and, this whole agenda is taking place, it's all being watched at the same time, right? Queen of Wands, okay? So there's a lot of, it's almost like there's takedowns happening at the same time that these people are coming into these countries, right? There are crackdowns on that, but that's not something the mainstream media is going to show you. MSM will not show you that a lot of these particular immigrants that are coming in are actually being cracked down on at the same time, okay? Now, we're aware of a lot of this situation that's happening. It's going to lead to a very unsettling situation. Like I said, with immigration coming together, with crimes are going to go up, okay? But the good news is that when there is a shift and transformation of power, presidency, prime ministership, etc., all of that's going to be cracked down on. Okay, it's going to be cracked down on, and there's going to be some fire energy coming. Okay, so new leadership is going to appoint new immigration laws. There's going to be a lot more cracking down of criminal organizations, and a lot of it is going to completely and totally be busted. Okay, so that's the good news. How long is this going to take? It's probably going to take at least another full calendar year. At least another, I'd say another full 12 months, at least, right? And that's, again, just my own feeling of it, okay? I'm not saying that is something you need to chisel into granite, okay? But I'd say it's probably going to take at least a good full year before that starts to happen because, like I said, you're not really going to get that through the current administrations that are running things, right? They're trying to encourage immigration coming in this way, sneaking into the country, right? Causing chaos, increasing crime rates, because trying to create civil war, right? That's the whole idea. And that's going to break down. But like I said, this is all part of those higher ups in that meeting room. And so, okay, we do this because it's going to lead to bigger action, right? They're being shown exactly what to do, okay? It's all part of the plan. It's the three-ring circus, my friends, right? So yes, criminal organizations, criminal cartels, gangs, a lot of it is going to snuff out. I would say, but it would take at least a full calendar year. Right? We have to get a new administration going, right, from country to country, to ensure that those particular situations are being cracked down. What I'm getting is that some of them are already being cracked down on. It's not being completely out of hand, but administration needs to bring about a new policy, because that's part of the change that needs to take place. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Showman Sana. Okay. Just checking to see if there's any more donations. Okay, I do not see any other donations. All right, so we're going to start up at the top of the list. How are we on time? We got about 15 minutes left, so we're going to take a couple more questions. Okay. Okay, here's one here from MOK. MOK says, hi, Brad, could you please look up France and what direction the country is going to? Because right now it doesn't look positive, guys. It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to look positive, okay? This is supposed to make you angry. This is supposed to make you upset. This is making you wanting to, reach a boiling point, and you've had enough, and you're throwing everything down, and you say, that's it, I've had enough. That's what this is doing, guys. This is not about a bunch of people coming over to your house and holding your hand and said, oh, my dear, everything's going to be great, okay? This is not meant for that. So this is very much like what I've shared. I know that your comments at the beginning of the broadcast, but I still have to make it clear, right? It's going to get worse, okay? It's going to get intense. And it needs to, because that is what's going to trigger a revolution. That's exactly what's going to be taking place here. And like I said, there's a lot of countries all over the world that are already doing this. And then there are countries that are on the brink of doing this, okay? Canada is on the brink of doing this. United States is on the brink of doing this, okay? If France is basically going in that direction, then they are on the brink of doing this. It is going to be revolutions that are going to be taking place. And like I said, it's bigger than a rally. It's bigger than a protest. It's bigger than a convoy. It is a revolution, okay? Revolution, again, will have people in the hundreds of thousands, in the millions coming about. Okay, we're already seeing that in certain countries around the world. France is next. Okay, so let's take a look at that and saying what direction France is going. Okay, let's just look at that simple question. In what direction is France going? Okay, see what the cards have to say. Again, guys, I can share perspective. I can go into intuition and tell you about these things. But again, I want you to see it through the cards, or what the cards are telling you, right? Because then you have something practical that you can look at and interpret yourselves. Okay. So what direction is the country of France going? Let's take a look. Okay. So just through a 4-card reading here. I'm going to start off with this card first because this is the behind the scenes, okay? People are getting angry. None of their needs are being met. People are getting upset. This is a very, very tough time for a lot of people. It's intense situations that are going. Politicians are out of control. Government is out of control. People are getting mad, right? They're infuriated by this. It's supposed to happen, okay? So the outcome is this. People will be trampling over that government. They will be completely and totally busting it, breaking it down, breaking down the walls, because this is all part of a mutual agenda. Like I said, if you go country to country, and it's like with you guys, I have many of you guys ask me, Brad, how's Singapore? Brad's, how's Sweden? How's Switzerland? How's Greece? How's Germany? How's Indonesia? How's that? And I look at all these different countries, and I'm getting the same thing. Now, guys, what is that telling you? Here's the 3-ring circus, yes, but it is a collective effort to getting people to stand up and create a revolution. That's what all this is about. That's the point of this, okay? So here's the idea of the death card, right? It's the people trampling over all these people, the so-called leaders, so to speak, the so-called politicians, the so-called government. It's being trampled over, right? So death is coming to the old systems. Death is coming to the old ways of how we've lived, okay? What is this going to bring about? A new time, a new prosperity, Okay, this is what's ahead. Okay, but like I said, it's not just about staying glued to the television, staying glued to the internet and thinking that everything's okay. You need to go out. You need to take action, right? It's not about being transfixed on that object. Look around you. Okay, this is a very emotional and spiritual card as well too, right? So it's telling you the idea that it's no longer about trying to covet something, holding on to something, holding on to a system. You have to learn to let it go, okay? And let new prosperity reign in your life. The reason why a lot of these things are taking time is because people are still holding on to the value of the old systems. You got to let that go. You got to let the old systems fall so a new system that's far better can come in its place, right? And that's the thing. If people have so much dependency upon this, they're going to panic when the government basically gets overthrown, when there's an overhaul of the government, when a lot of these old systems get shut down. There's going to be, if we're still attached to that, there's going to be people that are going to cling to that. And that's what they're trying to do, is get people not to cling onto these systems. Say, the hell with these systems, they're corrupt, want nothing to do with them, let's get new systems. And then when they start happening, there's support for that. Okay, so that's what's ahead for France. Okay, it's a heartbreaking situation, but like I said, guys, and it's not just for Canada that I'm talking about, it's not just for the United States that I'm talking about, it's for a lot of these countries. Things are going to get worse before they get better. And that needs to happen because that needs to wake up the sleepers. Everything that's happening right now is for the normies. For those of you who are wide awake, great. That's wonderful. Go help the people that are asleep, right? Talk to them, have conversations, right? Speak to people, right? Help them out. That's the thing. We're not just basically thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to hang out with the awakeners and all that. Well, no. Send your love, send your compassion, right? Send your heart to those sleepers, helping them to wake up, because that makes a big difference. Okay? Thank you, MLK, for your question. All right. I'm going to go down a little bit more. I'm going to try to go down close to the bottom, so we're running out of time here. So I'm going to kind of go to the middle. Okay. Okay, this is kind of a comment, but I think it's a good comment. This is from Manifesting Marin. Marin says, we have disclosure at our fingertips and have for decades, yet most of society still defends the psychos and has Stockholm Syndrome at a mass scale. They don't want to look at the truth. You're absolutely right. You got it. That's exactly what's causing a lot of these things, because the truth is that the truth is going to be so apparent. It does not matter how big the hole is that you're putting your head into, right? You could have the hole so big that you're basically doing a yoga stance like this, and you're still going to hear what's going on. You're no longer going to bury your head in the sand and thinking that everything's going to pass you by. We're not in that era anymore. It is either the number one thing is that you're either going to go forward and adapt and change and shift and move into these new things to come, or you basically plummet with the old. This is what I refer to as the point of no return. And Marin here is absolutely correct. They don't want to look at the truth. And she also says we have decades of this awakening to go at this rate. Most people have learned nothing in these past. That's right. You're absolutely right about that. Not everybody is going to see this new time. And those in that sense who are not going to see this new time are going to spiral down with the destructiveness of the old system, right? What I can say is that the old system is going. It is all going. And we're seeing it. We're seeing that transformation take place. And we are going to see revolution take place, because here's the good news. A lot of people are awakening and they're starting to outnumber the sleepers, right? So awakening, yes, awakening is going to be decades long. Okay, it's not something that's going to be, okay, well, we'll have awakening done in about a year and then everything else will be fine. No. You're looking at decades of an awakening situation. So it's what Adronis has talked about too. He's talked about spans, right? He's talked about 2016 to 2024 is a span of change. 2025 to 2036 represents a span of renewal, okay? So 2024, 2025 are kind of the transitional years. And then it's going to move into something even bigger in 2026, okay? Because 2026 represents the year of a new beginning, okay? That is new beginnings. That is even its numerology, Okay, 2025 represents endings. It's endings of old things. Okay, 2026 represents new things coming about, new blooming, new blossoming. That's going to come about. The new beginning, something that will represent a new time. But the awakening cycle will not end. That awakening cycle is going to go on for decades. Okay, it's probably going to go right into the 22nd century. Okay, even though there's going to be some big innovations, there's going to be some big transformations, the world has a long time to fully awaken, right? We basically see corruption around us, but that's not the whole case, right? That's just the first phase of coming into healing the self, right? Because that's what a lot of these decades are going to be focusing on. They're going to be focusing on healing people. We have a lot of healing to do. There are people that are so unbelievably traumatized, they can't even form sentences. They can't even form words. They're afraid to even open their eyes. They're afraid to even close them, right? So even though we have these new systems that are coming together, that is not healing the traumas deep within people. I have a heck of a time trying to get people to do simple techniques that are free on my YouTube channel under my playlists. I have a heck of a time trying to get people to do that, right? So the whole idea is that there is going to be decades and decades and decades of healing that needs to be done. So Breanne, you're absolutely right about that, right? This is going to be something that's going to take time. It's going to go way past my generation. It's going to go into future generations as well too, right? And especially some of the people here who are good-hearted people, but their hearts are crushed, right? Their spirit is crushed, and they need to come back again and again, lifetime after lifetime, because they're going to be part of these new generations that need healing, okay? And the good news is that the generations to come are going to be profound innovators. There is going to be technology, there's going to be new methods, there's going to be new forms of education that even goes back into the ancient ways that are going to help so many people, right? All I'm really doing, and many people that are following the same path as I am, is we're being the pioneers. Okay, we're the pioneers of this, because here I am inventing new technology like RAYD8, right? And I'm going to be expanding that a lot more. Here's a lot of other people that I'm seeing developing scalar technology and alternative medicine. And like I said, we're being the pioneers for this. And the generations that are going to come up are going to take those ideas and they're going to make things hundreds of times more better than what I'm developing or what other people are developing. So we have even better technology than that now. Fantastic. So we didn't have that in my day. We had to use flat screen TVs. So yeah, well, that's kind of primitive to what we have right now. Well, great. I'd love to see these new innovations come together. And this is what's important, is making sure that you're just contributing. You're contributing however you do. Maybe there's a technique that you use. Maybe you're a great Reiki healer. Maybe you're a great teacher, whatever it may be. Share your ability, right? Help people out, because this is something that is, we're really paving a path for the generations ahead. We're blazing a trail. Let's make it an incredible trail for them to follow that they cannot miss. Very important. All right. Okay, guys, probably about one more question, then we're going to wrap up. I'm going to kind of go down to the bottom now because we got so many comments and questions. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So just give me a moment here, guys. I'm just waiting. I'm going to see if we can end with a really good question here. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think we'll end with this question here, because this is a question that comes up quite a bit. This is McDaniel asking, so will it be a Civil War or WW3? I don't see either. Okay. And I'm basically looking at that kind of in the Western world, but also a little bit in the East as well, too. Again, people have been talking about WW3 even just several years after WW2. Okay. And the whole idea is that, is there a secret war happening behind the scenes? Yes. But as I've already talked about in the tarot today, it's pretty much done. Okay. There's a lot of cleanup. There's still some aspects that need to be cleaned up, of course, but pretty much most of it is done already. It's pretty much already finished. The war that's really happening right now is a psychology war. It's not going to be used with bombs. Okay. but it's going to be used with thoughts. It's going to be used with influence. It's a psychic war. Okay? That's really what's been happening right now. This is not being used with bombs and tanks. This is being used with thought manipulation, with gaslighting, with psychology, with psychic warfare. Okay? That's WW3. But it's not even really labeled that officially. It has basically been a battle for your mind. Right? Some people even said that. But this is a mind war. It is. It totally is. It's a very different type of battle that's going on here. But like I said, this battle is a human battle. This is something that humanity has created, right? It's not under the divine in that sense. Divine doesn't create war. This is all part of humankind attempting to evolve itself, but still fighting over the systems relating to its cynical behavior, its egoic behavior, and its fighting with itself. That's the whole idea. And it's no more different than a body that's being invaded by parasites, by viruses, by pathogens, and the immune system is coming together and fighting this, right? It's a gigantic immune system battle taking place upon the earth, and we are the immune system. And some of us are basically just kaput cells, right? We don't have a lot of energy left within us. We don't even know where we're going. We don't even know what we're doing. We don't even know what's happening because we're so completely drained of necessary vital life force, right? We're just confused. We don't know where to turn. We don't trust ourselves. We're constantly looking out here for answers when the answer is right here. So it's not to say that they haven't made attempts to try to create wars. Sorry, throat's acting up a bit. It's not that they haven't been attempting to make wars or WW3 or civil wars. They've certainly been attempting that. Right? That's exactly why they've been trying to wage wars on certain countries, to rob resources, to take over government, to basically look at ancient technologies. Right? It goes on and on. But no, the whole idea of trying to put the entire world engulfed in a physical war is not going to happen. The war that has been happening has been a mind war. It's a war of the mind. And you can basically categorize that as a WW3. But the WW3 that involves tanks and bombs never will happen. It's a war of the mind, right? Because that's where we're going. When humanity awakens itself, and this will be quite some time, right? When there is a full awakening that will happen in time, the entire universe is going to change. We don't know our power. And that's the thing. Nobody knows how powerful they are. Because when you truly tune in, when you're here, and you're living through here because the yogis have done it, many monks have done it, many mystics have done it, our elders of the ancient past have found it quite natural to live here. And even when I'm talking about this, people think I'm talking like I have 5 heads on top of my shoulders. When I'm talking about something about how our ancients lived, guys, the indigenous live like this. The Native Americans live like this. Are you going to look at them like they have 5 heads on their shoulders? So why does it sound like what I'm sharing here sounds so crazy when you're looking at the indigenous people? Because they've lived here. When you're looking at your great teachers of the ancient past, they live here. When you look at the masters of the Far East, they live here. When you look at yogis, when you look at monks, when you look at all the people that follow the course of nature, they live here. Why is that so wild? Why is that so crazy? Are you going to call the Native Americans crazy? Because that's what I've gotten quite a bit. Oh, Brad, you and your spiritual mumbo jumbo and your spiritual stuff. Are you going to say that to a Native American? Are you going to say that to people who live that way? To people who live in nature? You're going to go call them that? Well, no. Then why are you calling me that? Not saying I'm a Native American, but the whole idea is that I follow a life of spirit just as they do. We walk a different path, but it all leads back into the center. So why does it feel like what I share seems so outrageous when you know there are people on the planet that live that way and there's just automatic respect? You know why? It's because there's something called programming. There's something called conditioning, right? that if you follow a spiritual path, you're not grounded. On the contrary, you are way more grounded than way more other people that are throwing up their hands in the air, thinking that the world is coming to an end. You are far more grounded than people completely consumed by patriotism. You are far more grounded than people who think they are know-it-alls and try to use science as their Bible. You are far more grounded than any of those people. And that's not a betterment, but that's telling you that your feet are firmly placed on the ground. And this is why I've always encouraged through this entire channel's history to working with yourself, to coming into the center. Because you know what happens when people go here? They actually start to stabilize. They actually start to live their life. They actually start to become compassionate. They actually start to become joyous. They actually wake up in the morning and they want to live life. And you know how it happens to people who aren't there, who are here? They are living minute by minute in survival. They don't trust people. They are at a war with themselves. They are at a war with each other. They are in victim consciousness. They are playing blame games. They are fighting with the entire world, wishing they were dead. So you tell me, with my spiritual metaphysical mumbo jumbo, right, with what I am doing, pertaining to many others who are also walking this path just in a different way, but our roads will always intersect. You tell me how exactly you want to live. Do you want to live here where you're actually living life? Or do you want to live here where you are basically at war with yourself, at war with everybody else, at war with the planet, at war with your environment, at war with your mind, at war with God? You tell me. And if you want to be here, then this is where you can look at all the things that I provide for you that just help you along the way. Not because they're the answer, but they're just simple guides to help you out. Okay, so this is the whole idea, is that I get that feeling every now and then, right? When I start coming on to something like this with a signpost where we're looking at current events and I start tuning in. Oh, Brad's getting into his mumbo jumbo and his spiritual stuff and all that stuff. Guys, that's who I am. That's who I am. And as I've said so many times, I don't care about any of this stuff. This stuff doesn't bother me. It does not affect me, right? I am living life joyously. I'm not suffering. I'm not clinging to the computer thinking what's going to happen next, because I don't care about any of this stuff. I see it as a three-ring circus. And as it says here in the reading that we did earlier, we've already seen that it's already taken care of. If you guys saw what's happening behind the scenes, you would not worry. I've already seen it, right? I'm doing this because you guys want me to do this. That's why this is happening. So a civil war, no. A World War III, no. Not with tanks and bombs, but a fight of the mind, yes. But the good news is that humanity will come through it. But it's going to take decades, certainly generations ahead, for us to start moving into an even greater expanse, because we haven't even started to live yet. We've only been surviving. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today for the Signpost Live. So again, I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific on the AetherX YouTube channel. Okay, so again, that's at AetherX Store, youtube.com/@AetherX Store. And we're going to do a complete and total healing webcast. Okay, so join me tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific on the AetherX YouTube channel. And I hope to see you all there. Thank you very much, guys. Blessings to you all. Be well. Share your light, share your love with the world, because that's what the world needs most right now, is your love, your compassion, your joy, your light. Bring the light to it. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Blessings to you all. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.